She watched him from across the cabin, his uniform crisp, his voice commanding. But something about him didn't sit right. A black man, in the captain's seat. Doubt crept in, quiet but dangerous. She whispered her concerns to the crew, convinced something was off. Minutes later, the cockpit door burst open, and what followed shook the entire flight. Accusations, flashing badges, and a captain pushed too far. What began as suspicion turned into a reckoning. At 30,000 feet, she doubted the captain's identity. The mid-air payback was brutal. Comment on your city below. Aliyah. Harris was a seasoned flight attendant.com, efficient, always composed. She had spent over a decade in the skies, navigating turbulence, irate passengers, and midnight layovers, working for one of the top international airlines. She loved her job until Flight 728 to London changed everything. The day had started like any other. Safety checks, warm smiles, and friendly greetings at boarding. Then came the final welcome, the new captain's voice over the intercom. Deep, clear, confident. But when Aliyah stepped into the cockpit to introduce herself, her breath caught. The captain was black. That alone shouldn't have meant anything. But the unease in her chest wouldn't fade. Something felt off. Was it her instinct? Something else she didn't want to admit. What she couldn't know was that doubting his identity would trigger a chain reaction. Midair 1, that no protocol had prepared her for it. At cruising altitude, things seemed normal, passengers relaxed. Dinner was being served, and the seatbelt sign remained off. But Aliyah couldn't shake the feeling. She kept glancing at the cockpit door, watching the first officer come and go, monitoring the captain's announcements for anything strange. It wasn't just suspicion, it was paranoia. Aliyah had never seen a black captain on this particular route, and her mind whispered unsettling thoughts. Was he properly vetted? Had there been a mistake? When she quietly voiced her concerns to the head purser, she expected to be reassured. Instead, her comments were noted and escalated. Moments later, 2 off-duty air marshals seated in first class were quietly briefed. A decision was made to verify the captain's credentials mid-flight. That's when the turbulence hit. Lights flickered. The intercom crackled. The plane jolted and passengers screamed. In the confusion, the cockpit door opened and chaos erupted. One of the air marshals stepped inside, badge raised, demanding identification. The captain's calm turned to disbelief. What's going on? Passengers murmured as tension buzzed like static in the air. From row to row, phones began to record. Aliyah's heart pounded. Had she just lit a match to a firestorm? Was this racism hidden under the guise of concern? She wanted to explain, but the moment had already spiraled. And the captain? He was about to deliver a response no one saw coming. The cockpit fell silent as the captain stood. "Okay." Hands raised not out of fear, but restraint. The air marshal demanded ID again, louder this time. Cameras rolled. Passengers whispered. Aliyah stood frozen, watching the scene she had set in motion. The captain didn't argue. He calmly opened a folder from the side panel, revealing spotless credentials, military aviation records, and a commendation from the airline's CEO. The room shifted. Even the air marshal's voice faltered. He looked Aliyah dead in the not with rage, but disappointment. "You doubted me because of how I look," he said, voice steady but sharp. Hush swept the cabin, now heavier than the altitude. And, just like that, the power dynamic flipped live in the air. For the world to witness, dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps. When the plane landed, the media were already waiting. The footage had gone viral mid-flight. The airline issued a statement clearing the captain, praising his professionalism, and launching a quiet investigation into the incident. Aliyah was placed on leave pending review. But her silence now spoke louder than anything she'd said on board. the captain. He went back to work, but not unchanged. The humiliation, the suspicion, the burden of proving himself yet again stayed with him. This wasn't just turbulence in the sky, was turbulence in truth. A reminder that even in uniforms, success, and silence, racism finds a way to question your worth. How many more professionals will have to prove their humanity before society stops asking if they belong? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and new videos.